movement, like some translational movements. Then is a wrist, which orientate the extremity, means it controls the orientation of the arm. Then is the hand effector, or we can say robotic hand, which is the manipulator extremity that interacts with the environment. So robotic manipulator basically refers to the term manipulation. So there are different operations included in the term manipulation, which includes grasping and releasing of objects, interaction with the environment and or with objects not related with the robot, then movement and transportation of objects and or robot extremity. So basically there are two types of manipulators. First are serial manipulators, when the manipulator can be modeled as open kinematic chains in which the links are jointed successively by binary joints. Then is the parallel manipulators, when they can be modeled as closed kinematic chains in which the links are jointed to each other so that polygonal loops can be determined. Then, yes, ma'am. Hello. Should I continue or?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay, sir. So, in this table, we can see that serial manipulator is composed of an end effector and is connected to a base link by a single serial chain. In terms of kinematics, if I say the forward kinematics of serial manipulators are straightforward, whereas the inverse kinematics are complicated. Opposite is true for the parallel manipulators. In a parallel manipulator, there is a moving platform which is connected to a fixed platform by at least two kinematic chains. So these are the figures of different of just example of a serial and parallel kinematic chain. So you can see that a serial kinematic chain is having an open chain in which the links are jointed to each other by joints, whereas in a parallel kinematic chain, a closed loop is formed. So these are the different advantages and disadvantages of serial manipulators. In serial manipulators, everything is in series. So that means all the successive weights are added and that makes a very heavy structure. But the main advantage of serial manipulator is the large working volume. So it can be used in automobile applications, in the painting applications where we require the large working space. But it has somewhat low accuracy as compared to the parallel manipulators. Now these are the advantages and disadvantages of different parallel manipulators, where they have high stiffness, they have better accuracy, they have better dynamic response, but they have some singularities and they require more time for simulation, and they have difficult kinematics and small workspace. So combining the advantages of serial and parallel manipulators, we make the hybrid manipulators. So hybrid means a mixture of serial and parallel, taking the best attributes of both the manipulators. So basically, a hybrid manipulator is a kinematic configuration which combines two classes of kinematic chain, and it can offer a design with 6 or more degrees of freedom. That means minimum degree of freedom should be 6 for a hybrid manipulator. Now, on the left side in figure 2, I have just shown a simple example of a hybrid kinematic chain in which the parallel manipulator is connected with a series manipulator. And we can see from the features here that it has a workspace comparable with a serial manipulator, but it has accuracy and stiffness as compared to a parallel manipulator. So it takes the best advantages of both the manipulators. Now these are the different types of hybrid manipulators. First is hybrid series parallel chains, in which the parallel manipulators are connected serially with a serial subchain. But in hybrid parallel series chain, there is no serial subchain. The parallel manipulators are just connected serially. Now these are the different applications which have already been existing for the hybrid manipulators, like propeller gliding, medical surgery, pole climbing, robotic line dance, flight simulation, and there are so many applications like multi-finger grippers, walking machines. So in the medical applications are a lot. Now these are the different examples of hybrid manipulators in which serial manipulators which involve some parallel actuations are Cincinnati Milacron, ASIA, Cybotech, and the examples of hybrid parallel serial chain are Logabex robot, Multicraft robot, and then we can say different examples like Artisan, HRM, Georgia, developed by the different countries and different universities. So what I have done is, what my research is about, that I have proposed a 6 degree of planar hybrid manipulator in which there are two parallel manipulators, each having 3 degree of freedom, and both are connected serially to each other. Now here you can see the base CDE. This base is fixed and this AGB is the moving platform. Now, as I told you that moving platform is connected to the fixed platform by 3 actuators. These are the 3 actuators which are considered as piston cylinder arrangement, having reciprocating motion. Now, the center of gravity of the platform is taken as G here. So, AGB of the lower manipulator becomes the base C1, D1, E1 for the upper manipulator. Now, here actuator joints are active joints because they are not directly controlled and their position can be changed if required by the user. But the joints like these joints, these are all considered as pin joints and these are passive joints. Sorry, I told wrong. For the passive joints, movement can be controlled by the user and they are not directly controlled. Active joints control the movement of the platform. And here in the B part, we can see the platform figure is shown here. That platform can have some rotational velocity also, as it is inclined. It can be inclined at angle theta, and we can take the lengths of AG as S1 and GB as S2. So these are the different kinematic equations used in the modeling and simulation. So these equations basically show how to calculate velocities of different points, different joint points. And these velocities come from the forces in the actuator. The forces in the actuators can be measured and controlled by the user. So after calculating the velocities of A and B points in X and Y directions, we calculate the length of the first actuator, that is L1 square. Then after differentiating, we get the rate of change of leg length, which can be basically the force in the actuator. So similarly, we can obtain for the legs second and third also. Now this shows the forward dynamics model. I have done the modeling using the bond graph method. So I am not just going into the details of bond graph. I will just tell you that what exactly this model represents. Here you can see these MSC represents the forces in the 3 actuators, which comes from the inverse dynamics model, which we will make, and all the lower and upper manipulator points are connected like this, that A point of the lower manipulator becomes the C point of the upper manipulator. So all the kinematic equations are modeled here. Similarly, these xg dot, theta g dot, yg dot represents the 3 directional velocity of the linear and rotational velocity of the center of gravity, where we have taken the mass of the platform as well as the moment of inertia of the mass moment of inertia of the platform. So these velocities will be sensed by these DF elements. These DF is basically the flow sensor. So this is basically the forward dynamics model where the input is the force in the legs and output is the linear and rotational velocity of the center of gravity. Now this is just a simple actuator model which is taken as the piston cylinder arrangement where N1 is connected to the base end and N2 is connected to the platform end. Now this is the strategy I have used to make the inverse dynamics model. Now see why this overwhelming controller is used. What does this overwhelming controller do? The plant dynamics, I have named the forward model as plant, as I have written here. So the plant dynamics are overwhelmed by the controller, and this controller is referred as overwhelming controller. It dictates the plant to follow the unaccounted dynamics. We can take a real life example like a baby follows the path dictated by an adult. Similarly, here the baby is the plant and adult is the controller, which dictates the plant to follow the path. But we can see that baby can deviate the path also. Similarly, the dynamics of the plant can be deviated in some directions from the desired path required by an adult or a controller. But the overall performance comes as an acceptable performance. And this strategy has already been used by many researchers in different applications for the robotic manipulators. So here I have shown here we can see that this is basically, what does this model represents? This is basically a simple spring mass damper system where the velocity picks up this velocity of the plant, and then this picked velocity, or we can say this sensed velocity, is compared with the reference velocity given by the user, and the difference in both the velocities is given to the velocity actuator. Now this is not the real velocity actuator. This is a conceptual actuator which applies the error in the velocity to the controller system. Now then this system in the computational domain. Computational domains means we have made a similar type of system in a computational environment. So this system develops the reactive force as an output. Now this reactive force is sensed by the force sensor, and because this reactive force is very less in magnitude, so it is amplified with some gain alpha, and then it is given to the real system. That is, real system is given, it is given to the real system through the real force actuator. So we can see that the real sensor, that is the real velocity sensor, and the real force actuator is used here. So the controller on the left side of the model basically controls the force applied in the real system. So this is the function of overwhelming controller. And similar arrangement is shown in the bond graph here, where physical system is shown here, where we have taken the mass of the platform, weight of the platform also, and computational domain is shown here. Now I have developed a signal flow graph of the system, where this is the input velocity given as V reference, and this is the output coming. So the gain, or I can say the transfer function between the reference velocity and the forward model velocity is given by equation number 9. And if we divide equation number 9, then we get this as gain. If we make the limit of alpha increase to infinity, then we see that the gain is approximately 1. So what does this mean? This means that if the gain is large, then response and command velocity will be same. But it is not advisable to use very high values of gain near to infinity, because that will increase the rise to sensitivity of noise, and it also increases the simulation time. Moreover, the response may overshoot with increase in value of the gain parameter. Now here we can see that all the plant parameters, that is MP, RP, these are the spring mass damping parameters. All these parameters come only in the term H1 and not in the term H2. That means H2 term basically is the controller term. So that means all these parameters are controlled by the overwhelming controller. Next is going to the next slide. Yes, this basically shows the inverse dynamics model. So this model is the mirror image of the forward dynamics model shown previously with few modifications just to avoid the loops. So we can see that the output in the forward model was the velocities of the center of gravity. So here we see these are the inputs here given by MSF, and elements which are on the left side of MSF, these are just added to avoid the loops. And output will be the force applied in the three legs. See here L1, L2 and L3 dot. So encircled numbers 1 to 6 and 7 to 10. These indicate the corresponding joints with previous controller and the next controller respectively. And encircled numbers 11 to 13 indicate the reference velocity ports in x, y and theta directions. So the controller produces the effort U1, U2 and U3 employed in the actual hybrid platform. And we can also see that some duplicate junctions are here, like xg dot is duplicated, theta g dot is duplicated, similarly yg dot is duplicated. Now these duplicate junctions correspond to a specific kind of motion for a specific point, and these have a constraint that they will be representing a common velocity. So this constraint is applied in the model by including the coupling capacitors having stiffness and damping. So now this model will have no loops. Now this is the case study I have done on a human spinal cord. A human spinal cord, we can say, I just want to tell you that different types of humanoid robots have been developed for industrial applications and sports. But the main drawback of these robots is that the body part is generally rigid. So for the application of these robots to execute spine bending activities like pole vault, back vault, high jump, etc., the body part must be made of flexible articulated components. So to increase the flexibility of these robots, human vertebrae model with flexibility may be implemented. So the compression, decompression and the lateral bending of human vertebrae on the frontal plane is mainly controlled by contraction and extension. So a biological inspired flexible robot with articulated vertebrae structure such as human vertebrae is proposed here, and its motion in the plane is considered. And this robot will have better dexterity in comparison to existing humanoid robots. So here I can say that the spinal cord is basically classified into 5 broad categories: cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacrum and coccyx, out of which only first 3 I have considered here. The cervical spine, as you can see, is consisting of 7 vertebrae elements in all mammals, and the thoracic spine is of 12 vertebrae. Lumbar spine is consisting of 5 vertebrae. So this full arrangement as a spine can experience axial, lateral and sagittal rotations as well as translation. So this spine can move in 6 directions, and a functional spinal unit contains an upper vertebra, a middle and lower vertebra. So this functional spine unit can also have 6 degrees of freedom as the spine, and each vertebra has a relevant movement with other vertebra. Now this functional spine unit along with intervertebral soft part and the body muscle, these are the three linear actuators which I have considered for the hybrid manipulator proposed. And each vertebral unit, I can say this, each single vertebral unit can be considered as a parallel manipulator. And because in the spinal cord, each vertebral unit is placed over other in series, so that is why this whole spinal cord is considered as a hybrid manipulator. Now figure B shows a single vertebra with translations and rotations in various planes. Now the movements of the vertebrae around the neck are known as rotational movement, and translational movement is also there. So we can say that the horizontal plane is called transverse plane and the vertical plane parallel to human face is called sagittal plane. Frontal plane, and the plane perpendicular to both the planes is sagittal plane. So the motion considered in my case, I have considered the motion as translation on the frontal plane with right and left lateral bending about z-axis. So these are this is the schematic diagram of the hybrid manipulator where I have considered 19 vertebrae for the simulation. And I have considered only the side bending of human body and lateral compression and decompression are considered. Average weight per unit vertebra in the cervical segment and thoracic segment and lumbar segment is taken. Then you see this is the experiment done on the real human being where various points of vertebra from C1 to L5 they were marked by an orthopedician. These are the fluorescent stickers used on a human body, and the snapshots of 7 different positions are taken. Here I have shown only 3. On the frontal plane I have considered this bending movement, and these are the extreme positions I have shown here in figure A and C. In the figure D I have considered all the 7 positions. So in this way, positions of center of gravity for various points from C1 to L5 were noted down at different angles, assuming the point L5, that is the lowermost lumbar point, that is considered as the fixed point or the fixed base, I can say. So the command trajectory for various points from C1 to L5 is obtained in this way. Then I have taken the X-ray photography for the same position for the straight and the final left position, as more than 4 X-rays is not permitted clinically. So, and the reference trajectories are the displacements of the center of gravity of the vertebra in 3 directions, that is X, Y, and theta. So these reference positions are given to the inverse model. Now see, these are the simulation results where I have considered only few points. Not all the points are considered due to the complexity of the model. Now here you can say in the first figure, this is the simulation result for the point L4, where X displacement and Y displacement is shown. Dotted line shows the response velocity, response displacement, sorry, and the shaded line shows the command. So we can say for the L4 and C6, it is the simulator tracks the desired trajectory with minimal error, whereas for points T10 and T5, it is tracked with some error. But the overall response is acceptable because the maximum error is less than 1%. Second case study I have taken is of a human hand. Now we see that the human hand is such that the position of the thumb is on one side of the hand, which is parallel to the human arm. So the palm of each hand contains 5 bones, which are called metacarpal bones. And human hands include 14 digital bones, which are phalanges bones. So different joints with different phalanges are shown here with different colors, different notations you can see here. And this is the 4-link model because in the human hand there is a 4-link. And we have taken average weight of a joint in the finger. So here also the snapshots of 8 different positions holding different chalk lengths. Means I have taken the application for object grasping. So these are the different chalk lengths varying from 1 centimeter to 8 centimeter. And in the similar position, I have taken the X-ray position also, so that results can be validated fully. And I have also considered the weight of the chalk also, as I can see from here. See, this MO is the mass of the object and MOG means mass into gravity, that is the weight of the object. So that means I have also considered the weight of the object, and simulation was performed. So the reference trajectory is in X and Y direction for the various joints of the finger, thumb and index finger. So for the tip of the thumb, trajectory tracking is shown here, where exactly response tracks the command trajectory. And we can also see that our object is stiff. It is not moving, which is shown by the figure B. So next purpose is to make this planar manipulator a 3D manipulator so that it becomes a 3-dimensional hybrid manipulator. Now till now we have considered only X and Y direction, but now I will consider the Z direction also. And we have already seen that for the good representation of the dynamics, we require forward dynamics model as well as inverse dynamics model. So this is basically the actuator model in which we can say that Euler junction structure is Euler junction dynamics are considered, Lagrange Euler formulation is considered. So here you can see that effort is coming. Effort means the forces are coming from the inverse dynamics model. And point 1 is attached to the piston and that is the base end, and point 2 is attached to the moving platform end. Now this CTF represents the coordinate transformation which is done to convert the velocities from inertial frame to the body fixed frame. So this is the complete forward dynamics model for 3D hybrid manipulator, in which this actuator model is the model I have shown you in the previous figure. And you can see that the output coming is in 6 directions: xg, yg, zg, then is theta x, theta y and theta z. So these 6 velocity outputs will be taken. And these outputs are given to the inverse model, or we can say the inverse dynamics model. So in this inverse dynamics model, 6 reference velocities are there: xv, yv, zv, theta x, theta y, theta z. And there is a small ISP model shown here, which is basically this model, in which a model is there to just avoid the loops of the model. So output coming from the inverse dynamics model is the forces in all the 6 legs. And these forces are given to the forward model from where output of the velocities is taken. So this output velocity is compared with these input velocities, and that's how we compare the velocities and check our results. Now for the 3D application, I have considered a practical application of thumb and index finger for drawing an arc. Now here also I can say that all the joints and phalanges are considered here for the thumb and index finger. Now here what I have done, it is the three-dimensional trajectory tracking of these joints for thumb while drawing an arc of 60° in XY plane on a whiteboard with the help of a marker pen. Now Z direction is taken as perpendicular to X and Y axis, and X and Y are shown in the figure. Now L position is taken as 10° because other movements will be repeated. Now the snapshots of 4 different positions in XYZ coordinate system in different planes were taken for a time duration of 10 seconds. So the starting position of thumb is considered in YZ plane with marker pen placed at some distance from the whiteboard. Then the intermediate position is shown in figure B, where marker is moving near to the whiteboard for drawing an arc, and the final position is shown in figure C, where marker is placed at the 0°, so that drawing is just started. Then the final position in YZ plane is the final position in the XY plane is considered with placement of marker pen at an arc of 10°. And you can see that I have marked the divisions of 10° each here. So similarly, I have taken the X-ray position also for holding the marker, in which point O is marked at the starting of metacarpal joint of thumb and it is taken as the fixed joint. Point A is marked at the end of metacarpal joint and beginning of proximal joint. Point B is marked at tip of thumb, that is at the end of distal joint. So all the phalanges are also considered here. So lower manipulator is considered from O to A and upper manipulator is from A to B. Now these are the simulation results, where you can see the trajectory tracking is done in all the 3 directions, that is X, Y and Z directions. And lengths of both the manipulators are measured from X-ray position. The diameter of base of lower manipulator is measured. Then the linear coordinates of all the manipulators are calculated based on the kinematic equations. So next is impedance control. Impedance control means the forces which are developed when the manipulator interacts safely in the company of environment or any object. These are known as forces at contact. And these forces need to be controlled in such a way that the force provided by the manipulator must be less than the secure weight limits of the object with which interaction of manipulator takes place. So this force control is also essential in trajectory tracking, because the object or the manipulator can be damaged unexpectedly by even a small discrepancy. So in this impedance control approach, the block diagram is shown here, where the reference velocity given to the impedance controller is denoted by VR, and then Fn is the force of interaction between the manipulator and the environment. So this force of interaction must be less than the restrictive value of force, that is the limiting value of force, to have a safe interaction between the manipulator and the environment. So error between the limiting force and the interactive force is given to the impedance controller, and Reference velocity is revised as VRE, which is given to the inversion controller, or I can say overwhelming controller. So this overwhelming controller I have already explained. Now along with this overwhelming controller, proportional controller can also be used to do force control. And this is the bond graph model shown for the force control, and its signal flow graph is shown. Now this is the Robert admittance calculated from the model. And here also it is shown that if alpha, that is the gain, is 1, only then the yes ma'am.
Hello, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to know how much time you require more to complete the presentation because
Ma'am, it is finishing, just I think 3-4 minutes.
okay, not a problem.
Okay ma'am, thank you. Then this is basically the amnesia removal technique. Amnesia removal means the trajectory tracking error. So that is removed by the impedance controller. So this is the practical application I have taken here, where the center of gravity of the upper platform, that is point G, will follow the path in a L-shaped path. And these are the different conditions given to the reference velocities in the x and y directions. So these are the simulation results for impedance control and amnesia removal. And where in the first figure, it is shown that when that initially the reference trajectory is exactly tracked, that is the point G moves from point A to B, but during this time force control is also done in y direction, so there is some difference in the command and response. But this is called amnesia error as depicted here. And then this platform moves from point B to C, so that trajectory tracking is done fully, as shown in the last figure where amnesia is removed. So during the whole time, there comes some difference in the trajectory tracking, but it is able to be removable at the endpoint. So that's all. That means this hybrid manipulator, what I have done, I have proposed a 3 degree of freedom planar hybrid manipulator containing 3 actuators, where each actuator was considered as a piston cylinder driven link. Then it was developed into a 3-dimensional hybrid manipulator. Trajectory tracking was done with the practical case studies. Then force control was done so that minor errors in the trajectory tracking can be removed. And these are the already published papers which I have published from this work. And these are the different references from where I have taken some figures or some references. So that's all. Thank you, everyone. Any questions?